Well, hello there. How's everybody doing? My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. This is the Sunday video update. Today's date is Sunday, February 12th, 2023. Joining me off camera is my dad over here. And you might hear dogs crunching. Dad gave the dogs some treats, so you're going to hear them crunching. Amy is still asleep on the couch, off camera, but she would usually wave and say hello, although you can never see her wave, but you can hear her voice. We don't even hear her snores at the moment. So she is sound asleep. Hope you've all been doing well. There's lots to go over again this week. Um, but first, before I get to any of that, Dad, how was your week?
Good, good.
Good.
Warming up. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside today. It is absolutely gorgeous. I almost didn't go live today because I'm having a bit of issues with my sinuses, and I almost canceled. Dad had purchased some Corticedin HBP cold and flu medicine, so it's going to control the drainage and hopefully the sneezes and the sniffles. So, Dad, thank you for that. Because I really wanted to go live today and talk about what's been going on. So, last week was another busy week. So, I'm going to start off by saying that Dad, we thought that Dad had an appointment on Valentine's Day. As it turns out, it was on the 10th, this past Friday. So, he was in Saginaw for that. Um, we don't know what's going on. Like they didn't say. Yeah, they didn't say like what's really going on, but we do know what it's not, which is Dad doesn't have sciatic nerve damage or nerve damage in general. He doesn't have neuropathy in his feet or his legs. And so that's what we know that it's not, but we don't know what it is.
That's a plus.
And yeah, that's definitely a plus, but we will find out sometime maybe this week.
They're thinking
Um,
arthritis.
yeah, they're thinking maybe it could be arthritis. We'll find out more this
At her
week.
age, yeah.
What's going on? As for my mom's health issues, if you are friends with me on Facebook and you've been following my posts and keeping up on things, my mom has a consult in Ann Arbor on March 2nd. Poetically enough, March 2nd being the day that I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor kidney cancer, and her phone's ringing. Great. Perfect timing. Um, but
Hello?
who is that? Yeah, take it. I'm trying to do a show here. But anyway,
What's that?
um, poetically enough, mom's consult date is March 2nd, which is the day that I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor. It'll be 34 years to the day. So I will be in Ann Arbor on March 2nd. I'm by what I understand, they want me to drive mom down to her appointment, and I don't know who's going to be going with us because, 1 minute this person wants to go and then that person wants to go and then this person wants to go. So I don't know. I have no clue, but they want me to drive. I guess I'm going to be the designated driver. I'm not driving my vehicle. I'm going to be driving their vehicle. So March 2nd, I will be in Ann Arbor. Man, he talks loud. But anyway, so there was something I wanted to get to. There's something I wanted to point out because there has been a bit of confusion on social media. If you're friends with me on Facebook, um, I had mentioned something because I do have an appointment coming up actually next. Actually, no, this coming Thursday I have an eye doctor appointment in St. Charles. But there was something I mentioned on Facebook, and I want to kind of touch on this briefly because there is some confusion stemming from what I've said in the past about physicals and cancer checkups. Now, what I said on Facebook was, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but what I actually said was, is, because, I have over 30 years experience with cancer checkups. I know what to expect. I know the procedures and the examinations that they do. I'm very familiar with that cancer checkup stuff. Now, when I've had physicals in the past, the examinations and procedures were identical to that of a cancer checkup. So when I posted on Facebook that yes, I have to arrange an appointment with a family doctor to have another physical, what I said was, you might as well just call it a cancer checkup because it's very relevant and it's very identical to that. I'm not saying that everybody who goes for a physical as a cancer patient. That's not what I said at all, and for some odd reason or another, most people had taken it that I had said that, and it's like, why is this so difficult for you to understand that that's not what the fuck I actually said? It's not an abstruse concept. What I said was, because I have had 30 plus years experience with checkups, I am very familiar with the examinations and the procedures and the testing that they have set in place. So whenever I go to a physical, it's almost essentially the same as a cancer checkup. So in my view, it is a cancer checkup. I'm not saying that broadly and generally speaking, physicals are for cancer patients. I don't know why this was so difficult for people to understand on Facebook, but I had to explain. I had to kind of divulge a little bit into specifics on what I meant. Although I didn't think I had to, because I would suspect that people would be quicker on their feet and actually think about the things they say, or they read so far down into a paragraph and make their determinations of what they think I'm saying. They don't read it from top to bottom or from start to finish. So now I'm in a position where I have to constantly explain that that's not what I said. What I said is that the examinations and the testing of a physical is similar to that of a cancer checkup. I've had several of them. I know what to expect. And for me, in my view, you might as well just call it a cancer checkup, because all of the tests and examinations are pretty much the same. We're talking about labs, we're talking about ultrasounds, we're talking about x rays, we're talking about sometimes MRIs and EKGs. But that's not to say that when someone gets a physical, they may get those tests, but I'm not saying or insinuating or even suggesting that those people have cancer or are cancer survivors. I'm just saying that for me, that's very similar. I don't know why I would ever have to explain something as simple as that. I think people like to read into what they think I'm saying, or they like to make up ideas of what they think I'm saying when it's not, in fact, what I said. But just to clear up any confusion, I wanted to make sure that I put it out here on my YouTube channel during the live show today, because I don't want for anyone else to be confused about what I actually said. Amy is now awake. She has woken up. It's alive. Um, and as you probably can tell, I'm still having a little bit of issue with my seasonal allergies, and like I said, I almost canceled today. Because of the seasonal allergies. I've been blowing my nose and sneezing and coughing constantly like crazy, and so has Amy. She's up over here raising her hand. Yeah. Um, so there's that going on, and I don't know if this is non-drowsy. Um,
No, but, I think it is,
runny nose. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't say.
no, it's not. It don't make you drowsy.
It doesn't say if it's non-drowsy.
No, it ain't no.
I've never felt, well, I kind of feel drowsy now. Maybe it's because I'm just tired from, you know, just being run down from the seasonal allergy, blowing my nose and such. But it doesn't say on the box that it's non-drowsy. I am kind of feeling a bit tired today. It's just been a long week. There's been a lot going on, but I wanted to make sure that I cleared up that confusion. Although I don't think it's difficult to understand, but most people who don't think, they like to read into things and they like to come to their own conclusions about things. And it's like, stop, let me explain. So hopefully it put that confusion to bed. So yeah, this week I have an eye doctor appointment at St. Charles. That's going to be at 4 o'clock on the 16th. I have to get this eye looked at further. It's not causing me discomfort or, you know, anything like that. It's not unpleasant or discomforting, but I have to do a follow up. as per the instructions of my discharge papers from the hospital a couple weeks ago. Um, so I set up an appointment for that last week. I was originally hoping I could go into Chesaning to be examined by an ophthalmologist, but they have transferred me over to St. Charles, so that's where I'll be. And I still have to set up an appointment for a physical. I still have to look around for some doctors. I can go back to the clinic where I was, but I had a conversation with my insurance company this past week, and they told me that it is essential that I have to get a physical at least once a year. So that's going to be the norm. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like checkups or physicals or whatever word they want to call it, they could call it habadad balabadad for all I give a fuck. It doesn't make a bit of difference. To me, a physical is very similar or almost identical to a cancer checkup because the procedures and the examinations are identical. And so now I'm going to have to start that again, which I'm not looking forward to. But as per the requirements, I have to. I don't have a choice. But it'll be okay, and I'll be okay. Um, but other than that, I mean, there's there's dad's health issues, which you know, we know what it's not, and that's something to take in. That's something to run with. We know what it's not, so it's not. Just to briefly reiterate, it's not sciatic nerve damage. It's not nerve damage in general. It's not neuropathy in the legs or the feet. That's what we know it isn't, but we still have yet to figure out and determine what it is. And as far as my mom's health is concerned, like I said at the top of the video here just a few moments ago, I will have to drive her down to Ann Arbor to her appointment. It is a consult, and then after that will be surgery for bladder removal. Um, I've been talking to mom about some things, and as I pointed out last week, she had posted on Facebook that she was looking around for recommendations of a cheap cremation service, which I think is which I understand because there's the just in case factor involved, and it's not something I like to think about, but I do. It's not something I want to consider, but I have to. Um, but in any event, she was looking around. Maybe perhaps she still is. I'm not sure, but she was looking around for cheap cremation services, and it's like my only thought, as much as I don't like to have these discussions, especially with my parents, my initial thought was, why? Like, now all of a sudden, like, you get so scared, which it's justified to be scared, because there's always that chance. With any surgery, there is risk involved. So, yes, I understand there's always that chance. But why do you wait until now to decide to, well, gee, let's look into this just in case I don't get off the operating table, which I'm pretty sure she will. She'll be fine. But it really kind of upset me when she posted that. I don't know if it was deliberate. I mean, she could have just as easily asked someone on the phone. She could have messaged somebody. She didn't have to make it a Facebook post. I don't know if, like I said, if it was deliberate just to upset me or to upset my brother, but um, she could have messaged. That's something you could message some. It's not something that you would typically put in a Facebook post. Where, by the way, where are the cheapest places where I could uh, be cremated? I mean, it's I don't know. I don't understand. I love my mom, make no mistake, but I don't understand her line of thinking. I don't understand her thought processes. Um, I mean, dad didn't even do that. Dad didn't post on Facebook. He didn't say, "Well, gee, I wonder, I'm looking for recommendations on the cheapest cremation service." Okay, but my point is that I don't know if she did that to deliberately upset me and my brother, or I don't understand her thinking. And I'm not here to put my mom down. I'm not here to say anything negative or mean spirited about her, but it kind of upset me when she posted that, and it just doesn't make sense why you would go on Facebook and make it a post as opposed to having personal conversations with people who may be close by and more local to you to say, yeah, because it puts everybody into a panic. Like, what's going on? I was the first one to say, "What the fuck is going on, mom?" Um, you couldn't have just messaged somebody that or talk to somebody in private. It's not something that you would necessarily put in a Facebook post. I think a lot of that is deliberate. And I'm not saying it to be mean, and I could be wrong, and I could be overthinking or overanalyzing a Facebook post, which I do quite a bit, and I did last week, and I got some pushback for it, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it's not something you would typically put in a Facebook post. Well, gee, I wonder where the cheapest, places are for cremation. Okay. So, speaking of that, there was I spotted a meme on social media where something to the tune of, I don't care how people view my life. I only care about how it feels to me, which I call bullshit on. And I still do because of the fact that in and of itself, the quote or the meme or whatever you want to call it said that I don't care I don't care how other people view my life. What is Facebook then? What do we utilize Facebook for? We share details of our lives with each other on a daily basis. So, evidently, we do care about how other people perceive our lives because we wouldn't share so much of our lives with each other if we didn't think that, if that wasn't the case. So, I called bullshit on the meme. And I'm not going to put names. It's irrelevant, but it is a bullshit thing to post because Facebook is exactly that. And furthermore, if you don't care about how other people view your life, then what was the driving point behind posting the meme in the first place? Because obviously you have some skin in the game. You actually obviously do care about how other people view your life, or else you wouldn't have posted the fucking meme. It's pretty self-explanatory. Um, and yeah, I had my quibble with that. And I put it on my Facebook just as a talking point, somewhere to start a conversation. And some people got on there like, "Well, who are we to judge?" Well, the minute it hits fucking Facebook, we are to judge because that's what Facebook is. We share our lives with each other for no other reason we have Facebook. Why do we have it? To share our lives with each other. That's exactly what it's for. We utilize Facebook for that particular reason. So when you're coming on and saying, "Well, I don't care how people view my life," you're a fucking liar. Of course you care. You wouldn't have posted it otherwise. It's the contradictory thing to do is to post a meme saying you don't care how other people view your life, when in fact that is the very reason you posted the fucking meme because you do care how other people view your life. It's like, wow, wow. What is it with people lately? They're just not with it or something. I don't know what's going on. But Amy's been awake for a little while. So how was your week, Amy? It was okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just tired today, and I probably look tired on screen. Today in particular, I'm tired, and the weather is beautiful outside. I should be outside, you know, enjoying the sunshine, but I'm just tired from the sun. Yeah, I don't know. Chat is open, by the way, for those of you watching. I don't know how many people are watching at the moment. 0 people are watching, so I guess I'm essentially just talking to myself until people decide to watch the playback, which is fine too. It's just that the chat won't be there for the playback. But anyway, the weather is gorgeous, and we're expected to be in the 50s and I think low 60s this week. And then by Friday, it's gonna turn sharply colder, and it's gonna go from almost 50 down to 25. So it's a 25-degree difference between Thursday and Friday, and no wonder so many of us are coming down sick. Um, I'm not sick, I just have seasonal allergies, which, like I said, I almost didn't go live today. I was gonna cancel today's Sunday video update because I wasn't sure if I would be awake. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to speak with the constant drainage going on, because those of you who have watched or sat through my video updates, you have witnessed firsthand where I would actually cough and I would have to get up and step off camera to go blow my nose or to spit or to do whatever it was I had to do. You have all witnessed this firsthand, and I'm trying to be different about it. I'm trying to be more judicious about things now because I don't want to come on if I'm not feeling well enough to come on. I might cancel now if I don't feel well enough to do it. So expect that in the time to come. I may not be on every Sunday if I'm not feeling well, or if I just want to take some time to myself, then I'll do that. Um, and there was something else that I mentioned that was actually in a daily rant. And the daily rant, if you had a chance to watch it, thank you for listening anyway. I mean, there's really nothing to watch other than the words daily rant, black lettering on a white screen. Um, so the daily rant was basically people who say, well, I don't need to explain myself to you. That was the topic of that daily rant. And I stand firm by my thoughts because um, it's very conditional, and it doesn't apply to every scenario or situation. What happens is when someone says, I don't have to explain myself to you in terms of personal preferences, choices, then yeah, you don't need to explain yourself to anybody about the personal preferences that you have or the decisions you make for yourself. However, when those decisions and choices and preferences affect other people, the phrase, I don't have to explain myself to you, is null and void. Because when it involves other people directly or even indirectly, it doesn't matter. When it involves other people, it would be nice to have the conversation. Where I've dealt with this many times in the past where someone would read something about me on social media and they would block me just like that without explanation, without warning, without, whatever. And when I would try to have the conversations with them, like, why would what would convince you of this? Why would you do that? Why would you make that decision? And they would say, well, I don't need to explain myself to you. And I would always come back and say, you're fucking wrong because you blocked me based on something that someone else had said, an unfounded claim that has not met its burden of proof. There's no evidence for anything they say. And I want to know why you believed what you believed and why you made the decision based on word of mouth as opposed to actual evidence. And then I had arrived at the conclusion in the daily rant, which it couldn't be more true now than it was 5, 10 years ago, that anybody who wants to believe gossip without actually knowing the truth, if they want to believe gossip about you, then that tells you more about the person believing it than it says anything about um, the person lying about you convincing them of you. So, in other words, if they want to believe something about you, that's their fucking problem. That says more about them than you. And it says more about the person who's believing this because they've been fed a tissue of lies and then they want to just go ahead and believe it. So, go right a fucking ahead and believe it. The conversation's done. You want to believe something based on false claims? That's not my problem. It's not my job to prove my innocence. It is the person's job to demonstrate guilt. If they are accusing me or blaming me of something, the burden of proof rests with them. That falls at their feet, not mine. And if you want to believe what you're told, Have at it. Go right ahead. I don't care anymore. But the point I was trying to make is when someone says, "Well, I don't have to explain myself." Yeah, if you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community, no, you don't have to explain yourself. You are who you are. You owe no one an explanation for that at all. Um, that's different because that's a choice about yourself. That's well, I'm sorry, I take that back. It's not a choice. It's who you are. That's something about you. Because I'm not trying to offend anyone from the LGBTQ Q plus community, so I do apologize. I retract that statement. But personal preferences, no, you don't have to explain. You owe no one an explanation for who and what you are. Only until time that it becomes an issue for somebody else, as per the example that I had given previously about people blocking me and believing things. Um, then it becomes an issue. That's when it becomes the most relevant. And if people care about the truth like they claim they do, then they would do the due diligence of further investigating and thinking about what they're saying, as opposed to just believing it on the fly willy nilly. Who gives a fuck? They're saying this, so it's true. I don't have time for people like that. So, anyway, that was the point of the daily rant. And I hope I wasn't too confusing about that either, because obviously people who speak English have a second language that I'm not aware of because they don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. And I have to circle back around 20 times before they finally get it. Oh, now I see what he's saying. Well, you shouldn't have got it the fucking first time around. What am I doing sitting here wasting time explaining something to you that should be as obvious as the fucking sun shining? I get bored with that. I get tired of it. I'm tired today. I feel ran down. Like
You've been up early in the morning, right at
Well,
night.
I was telling him I feel the same way. I think it's our sinuses.
I just feel like I could sleep.
Well, the sinus medicine might help you.
I ain't even taking
Well,
it.
and it's amazing because I didn't start feeling drowsy like I am now, if you can't tell. I didn't feel like this until I had taken these Coricidin pills.
Let me see it. I'll see it.
And this is for people with high blood pressure.
Yeah, if there's an antihistamine in it, you will go
Hey,
drowsy.
Dad.
Acetaminophen. Yep, it's an antihistamine.
Yep, that's why.
That's why I feel drowsy. But it's for people with
He's just drowsy. But yeah, it has a sleep aid in it.
yeah. I should have known that before I had taken it, but had I not taken it, I wouldn't have been able to do this live stream because I would be sneezing and blowing my nose the whole fucking way through, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually come on here.
Like me, tissue stuff up your nose. 'Cause
Yeah.
you tried to stop it from running.
Yeah. I don't want to I don't mind being a clown. I love clowns, but I don't want to come onto the live stream with toilet tissue stuck up my nose. But it's seasonal allergies, and this weather does not help at all. Seasonal allergies have become a pastime of mine because I always get sick during this time of the year. It's usually January, February, like in the dead of winter, is when I
May occur.
drowsiness may occur.
May. It don't say it will, but it may.
Well, it is because I feel pretty fucking tired right now. I feel like I could just go to sleep. But I'll stick around for the next, let's see, about the next half hour already. Wow, that half hour went by quickly.
Drowsiness may occur.
There was something else I wanted to talk about. Actually, I'm on a roll this week. Apart from everything else going on, there were some other things I wanted to talk about. So you guys are aware of anti-bullying campaigns. You know, people love to implement anti-bullying, and they think that the anti-bullying campaigns are going to make a positive impact. And I am here today Sunday, February 12th, to say that anti-bullying campaigns are garbage. In fact, they make things worse.
I've noticed that. Have you even noticed in the news now? The cops are even bullying.
Yeah, well, I'm talking. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll go with that too. We'll accept that, because bullying in general. Well, first of all, it's never going to go away. And secondly, the main point that I wanted to make is that anti-bullying campaigns, it creates an us versus them mentality, and it exacerbates the vulnerability of the victim. In turn, makes the bullying and the bully stronger and more sophisticated in their tactics to bully the victim. So what in turn what does anti-bullying campaigns do? Well, I'll tell you, they address the problem. They don't offer solutions to fix the problem. So when someone asks me to join their anti-bullying campaign, I tell you to shove it up your ass, because they do not work. They do not fucking work. And so many of my friends are involved in anti-bullying campaigns. And which it is their choice to do whatever they want to do. And if they feel very strongly about it, well, there's really not much I can say. But what I can say is that they're wrong. They are mistaken. They've been fed a line of garbage where if only we do this and if only we do that, anti-bullying, we're going to stand up and say no to cancer or no to bullying or no to this or no to that. Good for you. It doesn't change anything.
Know the word no because they're going to do it either.
Well, and it's what I said, like, and I said cancer, I know, but what I meant was anti-bullying in particular. It only addresses the problem. It doesn't offer a solution. And that's why nothing gets solved, nothing gets done, and it only makes the problem in the situation worse. And I, for one, am not, and I mentioned this too before, like, I'm all about, like, people want to join groups where there's benefit. Like if you are a member of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or Gamblers Anonymous or whatever it is anonymous that you're a part of, more power to you, because those groups are going to help you and you're going to benefit and you're going to make a positive life transformation. Those groups have benefits. But to join a club or a group or a campaign, well, we're anti-bullying and we're not going to stand for it. Well, guess what? You are standing for it. And instead of anti-bullying, why not switch it up? Why not call it pro-love, pro-understanding, pro-positivity, pro-inclusion? Why does everything have to be anti-this, anti-that? Anti-bullying in particular, I don't care who runs it. I don't care if they're famous. I don't care if they're pseudo-famous. I don't care. Anti-bullying campaigns are bullshit. They do nothing to help.
Like they say, antisocial. What the hell is that?
Well, you remember DARE, the DARE program?
Yeah.
Well, that's been deemed as ineffective by the government. That's why you never really hear about it anymore. Although there are still some schools in America who still implement the DARE program because it's the fight against drugs. Okay. Which, yeah, children should be educated on drugs, how lethal they can be. But most, it just doesn't work. It's ineffective, much like anti-bullying campaigns. And when I see my friends, and these are people that are genuinely good people, they have a good head on their shoulders. I love them dearly, but they are getting caught up in bullshit.
And this is another thing that gets me good.
What's that?
You can be 18 years old, go into a dispensary and buy marijuana. But you have to be 21 years old to go buy beer. What in the hell is the difference? It's
Yeah.
still a drug, it still messes you up. What's the difference? 18, 21.
Yeah.
21 to buy beer, 18 to buy marijuana. Go to town, even if you ain't got a car to buy it for recreation.
It's
It doesn't make sense.
well,
And that's why there's so many.
but I'm talking about anti-bullying. I'm not talking about what's legal. I'm not talking about what's legal.
And the parents,
I'm talking about
I blame it on the cannot. And it's not about race or anything. It's just that people think they're bad. They think they can whip the world. Well, guess what? You're gonna run against somebody.
And that's another thing that anti-bullying
Yeah,
campaigns do.
yeah,
They think that being bad and being, against what's going on is they think that's where it's at, and being a good person is just lame.
yeah.
Well, I would rather be a good person, no matter how fucking lame it might sound or how lame it might come off. I'm not out causing issues and problems for the world. I'm doing what I think I need to do. Anti bullying campaigns are useless. They are essentially useless. They are garbage. If you are part of an anti bullying campaign, I mean, yeah, that's your choice. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but you're wasting your time. You are not part of the solution. You are part of the problem because they solve nothing.
They
It,
can be anti-bullying, but yet the kids are meaner than shit to other kids. They're, you know,
and then you have to figure, because anti-bullying, okay, then I examine the side of the bully. Why is this kid acting out? Why do bullies ever act out? There must be something going on at home. There must be something going on in their lives that makes them act this way.
and they're not getting enough love at home.
They're not being shown enough love. They're not being raised properly, or there's just something deeper going on. And then they want to act out
Yeah,
because they think that it's cool.
yeah.
So we don't want to marginalize bullies either,
We want to
because
treat them
they're
like others.
right, because there is a chance that the bully is dealing with something very personal, very internal. They're hurting inside. There's not a kid alive. I don't have children, but from my experiences with kids, there's not a kid in the world who wants to be viewed as the bad kid. There's something else going on. So anti-bullying in that regard is also ineffective, and it marginalizes bullies, which bullying should never be tolerated, but it also marginalizes the the person who's bullying, because it may be a cry for help. And we're ignoring that because we're only focusing on the bad things that they're doing. Anti-bullying campaigns all around are fucking bullshit. Just period. They are terrible. They do nothing.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Now, what about these cops that are pulling people over?
Yeah.
They're not struggling. They're not running,
They're still beating the shit
and
out of
still beating the shit out of them. Or
That's hatred. That's hatred.
us. Hatred
That's
on-
bigotry. And they should have their qualified immunity stripped of them immediately.
Well, the one that just killed that kid, he got a slap on the wrist.
Well,
Got probation. A
that
cop.
that's coming from something deeper, which
Yeah.
I said. And there's hatred and bigotry all over, everywhere.
Yeah.
And people in that position shouldn't have that position. They shouldn't have qualified immunity. They shouldn't be in a position to uphold the law when they themselves violate it, and they violate the citizens who depend on the police to uphold the law and civility and to defend the rights of the people. Police work is not easy.
Whoop in the
It's
fucking-
dangerous. It's dangerous work. It's dirty work. It's hard. Somebody's got to do it. But that does not excuse cops to behave badly. They don't get to, they shouldn't get to beat people up just because of their skin color or their nationality or because of a personal vendetta outside of their work. It's unacceptable. If they are not resisting arrest, if they're not running, if they're following the orders of the police officer, then that police officer should already be well aware of the person's rights and the law, which you can and cannot do. There's no excuse for hatred and
No.
bigotry. There's none. And I understand what you're saying. Cops can be bullies, but in the event where we're talking about kids, because we have to raise children. Well, I don't, But we have to raise children in a society, in a world where you have to be you have to be productive. You have to be co-productive. You have to share space and time together. There's no getting around it. You got to treat each other nicely. Anti-bullying campaigns do more fucking harm than good. I've seen this myself, and it anybody can see that. Anybody can see it. That's why I'm not anti-bull. And furthermore, I don't need a group to tell me what I should and shouldn't believe in. I form my own opinions. I am anti-bullying. I don't like bullying myself, but I don't need to join a fucking group or a club to show or to verify or validate my disdain and disgust for bullying. I can tell you on my own, I don't like bullying. I'm against that kind of behavior. But the individual may be marginalized to the point where they're not being seen and heard. There's something else going on that they just will not talk about. Because as I pointed out, there's not a kid alive who wants to be viewed as the bad kid. Nobody does. Well, that's what I'm saying. It could be any variable of things. We don't need to cherry pick, but it could be any variable of things happening that we don't know, and they're acting out as a result. It could be any number of things. I just said I'm not going to cherry pick. It could be anything negative that could result to that kind of behavior. So anti-bullying in turn marginalizes the person when they could deep down be good people, and they are acting out because something traumatic has happened. So in that regard, anti-bullying campaigns are fucking stupid.
If something like that does happen, you need to go and at least get the child checked.
And
If the child's doing bullying.
Yeah, and furthermore, as I also pointed out, it exacerbates. I can't speak because I'm drowsy. It exacerbates the vulnerability of the victim, and it creates us versus them mentality, victim and bully. It does nothing positive.
We know some kids that have been bullied
Right.
by family, and now they don't even want to be around that person.
Yeah.
You know?
But anyway, that's another point I wanted to address. Yeah, so I'm just not with anti-bullying anything.
But yeah, sometimes parents don't even realize they're doing it, and
Yeah.
then it teaches their kids, hey, this is cool. I can do this. And
Yeah,
get away with it.
it's acceptable.
My kids were never taught that.
It's morally acceptable to be a dick towards someone for no particular reason. That's what they're taught. And a lot of it is lazy parenting too, I think. Parents who just don't take time with their kids and sit down and talk with them why you shouldn't do this. Yeah, you can have friends who are influences, but then it comes back again to the parents, because the parents have to be the ones to make sure that their children are being properly taught. Again, it goes back to the parents, because the parents have to be responsible for that behavior.
And like I said, sometimes it's the parents that are
Yeah.
doing it also.
Yeah. And it's the one taboo thing that never really gets talked about. Adult parenting. That is making me not talk. Adult bullying is what I meant to say.
I'm not saying no names, but we know.
I know lots of adult bullies. We know a
family member that used to do it.
Yeah. I know lots of grown people who are bullies. I was accused of being a bully at one time. No, the thing is, you can be a good person and still tell someone to fuck off when necessary, which I have done more than enough times. No regrets. Family, friends, doesn't matter. Or just random people who think they know me when they haven't the first fucking clue. I tell them to go fuck off into purple oblivion and leave me alone and don't ever contact me again. And I have had the arguments and the conversations with people. but it's really, um, I, nobody likes to be bullied, and like I said again for the third time, uh, there's not a kid who wants to be viewed as a bad kid. There's something deep going on, and anti-bullying is just the anti-bullying campaigns just don't fucking work. They're ineffective. These people who want to take a stand and they want to recruit people to join their little club, their exclusive club of anti-bullying. Well, guess what? It's not exclusive. It's not underground. Anybody who's reasonable and sensible would also be against bad behavior. There's nothing secretive or mystical or mysterious or miraculous about it. You're either for it or you're against it. And I'm against bullying of any kind, but I'm also against anti-bullying campaigns, which I've made my point. Oh, but anyway, well, they know they're open. The chat lines, and we're already down to the final 15 minutes. Nobody's even watching this. So even if I canceled today's show, it wouldn't have made a bit of difference because no one's here watching anyhow. So, which is fine.
Too busy for Jaybird.
Well, today is Super Bowl Sunday, and everybody is getting around. They're getting their goodies, and they're for their little tailgate parties. I wonder if Wayne's having a tailgate party. I haven't heard from my brother Wayne in quite a while, actually. And before anyone emails me or messages me about the anti-bullying thing, that's not me saying that it's okay to be a bully. I just want to put that out there too. I'm not excusing bad behavior because I've been accused of that on any number of occasions. People listen to my Sunday videos or they listen to my daily rants and they say, "Oh, well, Jared is just making excuses once again for the perpetrator." That's not true. Never. I don't make excuses for bad behavior. But we need to examine both sides. I was bullied when I was a kid. Now, and now that I'm an adult, I don't give a fuck. I could care even less now that I'm an adult because I don't have a problem telling anyone where to go. Now, when I was a kid, it was different because I cowered down to people who tried to intimidate me. Not now. Yep. I do not play games. Life is too short. I can't believe we're already down to the last 15 minutes of the show. That hour just went by like the breeze. But I do have plans this week. I have an appointment on Thursday to follow up with my eye doctor about this eye right here. And Amy has an appointment this week. So much going on this week. A buddy of mine, I think, has a birthday this week. I think it's this week, the 17th. Yes, it is this week. Okay. But I'll have, I've got so much to do this week. And I also, before I forget, I also have to go to the Secretary of State's office because I have not found the title to my van. And I'm going to have to file for lost title. It's going to set me back about $20, but so be it. I mean, it's got to be done. Or I can just wait until next month when I get my check and take care of it then. But we also have propane too. We have a propane bill we got to pay, and on Valentine's Day we got to pay taxes, winter property tax.
I don't think so.
No, I think you got the dates.
No, I think they changed it on me without me knowing.
I don't know.
Because I had it wrote down.
Because I know that on the 14th on Valentine's Day we do have to pay the property taxes. I don't want to be delinquent on taxes. No, we're always on time with our property taxes. And I'll have to remember this time around to get the exact amount because not thinking about that, the last time I had got a money order to pay the summer taxes, and I went over the amount.
And I got wrote
And
down here for February 14th in Saginaw at 1:30 with my doctor
okay,
on the 14th.
okay. I had given the township treasurer, I had given her more than what the actual amount was. And I didn't realize that it potentially put her at risk of being accused of embezzling money.
Yeah.
And so, and just not thinking about, because I just wanted to make sure that it was paid.
I totally get that. though.
And I do understand it now that I think about it. And I did put a lot of, now I know better. I'm going to get the exact amount from now on every single time, because I don't want to put our township treasurer at risk of being accused of embezzlement. And, she's a sweet lady, and I wouldn't deliberately put someone in that position.
Her husband, I was
Um, but now that I understand it, because she could very well be accused of pocketing the extra money. And no, I'm not trying to get her in trouble. She is a sweet lady. And after having explained that, because it didn't even dawn on me, because when I pay my bills with money orders, I'm so used to getting more than the actual amount just to make sure it's paid the fuck off. But with property taxes, that's a different story, because that's with the state. That money goes back to Lansing in our case. And I don't want to get her in trouble or put her at risk of being accused of embezzlement, where she's pocketing the extra money. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. So from now on, yes, the exact amount is necessary, but um, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I guess I don't know. The argument that I used to have is now kind of just old. Uh, but it's whatever. I'm gonna use the exact amount from now on. Because I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. She is a very nice lady, and she's been our township treasurer for. We've lived here for about 25 years, and I don't know who was a township treasurer before her.
She's always been township.
I think she's always been, even when we moved in 25 years ago. Yeah, because we've been in this house since the late 90s. So yeah, I think she was in the beginning, right when we moved into this house. She was a township treasurer then. But
20 years ago.
yeah, 25 years. I've lived here longer than anywhere else in my life. And I have always lived within the confines of Saginaw County. We had this conversation the other day. Um, in Saginaw County is what I'm saying. I have not lived outside the confines of Saginaw County. I was born in Shiawassee County, Owasso,
Me. I lived in Shiawassee County and moved to Saginaw County.
but I've lived in this county my entire life.
But
My
there's a reason I did.
my whole life.
I lived in Shiawassee.
You and Jay.
I have never lived in any other county. I have never lived in any other county besides Saginaw.
That's what I'm saying. You know.
But I'm trying to think of what that other argument was about the tax thing. Well, it's like, well, it's more than enough. I mean, you got the money, like just put it, credit it towards. Couldn't you credit it towards the next set of taxes? But yeah, they're not going to know how much it's going to be, because the taxes fluctuate. So that's the argument that I'm drowsy. I'm kind of sleepy today
I don't understand one thing
I'm
either.
54, Jared.
because of this.
If you own your land,
Yeah.
why do you have to keep paying on it? If you own it, I mean, we don't, just like we have to pay for things in Saginaw that we've never been to.
Yeah, we pay for Castle Museum in Saginaw. I've never been inside Castle Museum, and people get that mixed up with the Art Museum, which is on South Michigan. That's the Art Museum. Castle Museum is on Warren Avenue. It's where the rallies is on Genesee. It's actually, I'm sorry, it's Jefferson, I think. It's Jefferson Avenue. Castle Museum, if you go inside the and I know this from experience, if you go inside the Social Security office on Genesee, and when you're sitting in the lobby, you look out the front door, you can see Castle Museum kitty corner. It's adjacent from the Social Security office. Yes, we pay for that.
Yeah, I don't know if the people, a lot of people will agree with me what I say, but
About what?
say it. I think if you don't have kids in school, why do you have to keep paying for that school? I can see if you got kids going to school,
Paying taxes, yeah.
paying taxes on school that you don't have no, you can't even go in.
Or furthermore, the lottery is supposed to be allocated towards the schools, right? Yeah, sure. Sure.
Random. Bullshit.
Sure.
They got their own fucking fingers in them, pushing every button.
Oh yeah.
You play
They got
that-
their hands in that cookie jar for sure.
Yeah, because you tell me that you play it, your number's in the center and it goes all the way around.
Yeah. But yeah, I see your point though. I mean, the school tax, like if we're, I don't have kids.
Why should you have to pay for your land if you own it?
Yeah. You're paying rent to the state pretty much, essentially.
You don't own your home, you own your
Well, it's like when I go to the Secretary of State and I renew my tags and my license and all that stuff, the registration. Well, basically the tags, I guess. And they say, well, how can I help you? I say, well, I'm here to pay my yearly extortion fee to the state.
and what your friends say.
And my friend, who is a police officer, agrees. He says, yep, we're here to pay our yearly extortion fee to the state. Because really, I mean, for what other reason, are we paying? But I get it, because
Right.
if I'm going to be a licensed driver and if I'm going to be using the public road system, I should have to pitch in. I should have to participate
Okay.
in the upkeep of the conditions of our roadways. Yes, of course, I should.
They're not fixing the damn things though.
Where they're going to get you either way, you got to pay taxes on the gas.
You pay for the roads, right? But when your car brakes gets broke on the road, hitting a pothole, you have to pay for that yourself because
Yeah.
you gotta what is that? You gotta pay so much, like $500 to fix a $400.
But anyway, that's the general idea of renewing your tabs and all that stuff. It's to go toward. It's supposed to be allocated towards the maintenance and the upkeep of the public road system. That's the idea behind. I'm not saying that that's what they do. I'm saying that is the general idea of how that is set up. If I'm going to be using the public road system with a vehicle, I should have to chip in. I should have to chip in my fair share to go towards the upkeep and the maintenance of the public road system. So in that regard, I understand. I'm not saying that that's what actually happens. Now, what actually happens is a whole nother fucking story, especially with, like when you get gas, so much of that is supposed to go towards the upkeep and maintenance of the roads. I can't say that it does or it doesn't, but I know that that's the general idea. Like with renewing your tabs and renewing your tabs and your driver's license and things like that. That's all supposed to go towards that. Supposed to go towards that. Not saying it does. Just like the lottery, the money that they allocate is supposed to go to the schools. Those schools should be sitting on gold mines if that's the case. We should never. There should never be a school that goes south from failure of funding when we have a lottery that allegedly supports the education system to keep the schools open. Like I said, I don't know how true it is. I can't demonstrate that to be the case either way. But I always hear about teachers, educators getting $1,000 bonuses. And it's like, okay, so yeah, we need schools to teach our young people, to educate children, to teach them the basics, and teenagers and such. But we also, I also think too that if we're going to be educating kids, we should also teach them how to think as opposed to what to think. They don't teach you how to think, they teach you what you should think. And that's another story for another day. We have officially reached the 1 hour mark on this Sunday. I thank you so much for stopping by, although there's not a single fucking soul in the chat or watching this right now. But I got things to do. I'm getting tired and I'm probably going to crash for a little while. I thank you so much for watching this week. If I'm feeling well enough, I'll be back next week. Final words from Dad. Take it away.
Be safe. Take care of yourselves and check on your neighbors. Make sure they're okay.
Amy, go for it.
Peace out. Be safe. You try to stay warm.
Yeah, well, it's going to be warm this week. We're supposed to be in the 50s and lower 60s, they said. And then it's going to drop sharply down into the 20s by the end of the week. So much love to all of you. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to a drowsy Jer Bear this week. Hopefully next week things will be different. So much love. Take care. Have an awesome week, and I'll be seeing you. Hit me up on Facebook. Take care.